Today has been meh so far. Couldn't be bothered getting out of bed, and then when I did, I thought, right, first things first, I'll go and check in with the Universal Credit application and look into these grants and see if there's any more help. So that was a rabbit hole that cost the whole morning, and it just depresses me. I'm writing cranky little notes in my Universal Credit journal thing that you have to write for your work coach. Not that we've been assigned one yet. I've tried the helpline and that's just not even going through. It's just coming to a message that this phone line's too busy and isn't working. And so I've really dug in to anything. I found an arts grant available, but it's not eligible for me. And then I could see that my depression and anxiety about income and worrying about money is affecting the whole house. And then Andrew's worrying about business, and he's working really hard to cover both of us. And then I'm liking better the idea that if I can help him somehow. But his business, where he gets his stock from, they're closed, so that's slowing things down a bit. But if I can help him, then I'll feel less bad. I mean, we're actually fine. We're going to be fine. But it's because I've been so poor in the past, it makes me really insecure not having an income and not being independent, and just, you know, what do I get up for in the morning if I'm just waiting for Andrew to do his work and I'm going to just do housework? Obviously there's reading and there's writing and there's drawing. I've got tons to do and I like being busy. But it's finding a purpose to those activities. But realising the effect that me moaning and being depressive is having, I think I've got a responsibility to keep it together, because everyone's struggling and everyone's finding this difficult, and there's people worse off. There's always people worse off. And human beings are social creatures. We're not exactly flocks. We don't herd the way the Tories would like us to. But we are social creatures, and we're not these wonderful individual things that our society paints us to be. We're raised to think we're special and we're individual and we're better than everyone else. We've got to be the biggest, the fastest, the bestest, the most successful, the most achievingest. And it's a load of nonsense, really. We're social creatures and we all affect each other and we all influence each other. And even though we can't see each other right now, just online or just however, everything we do ripples out to other people. And I feel there's a responsibility to keep it together and keep going. Oh, damn it. I'm sitting outside the shop waiting to get in. They're only taking two at once, and I've got some parcels to post for Andrew and some cash to put in to try and disappear into the black hole of my overdraft. And there's a queue 2 meters apart, and so I was sitting in my car to talk to the phone, and then someone else has joined the queue. The dogs wanted to come because morning time is normally their walk time, so they came out in the van with me. It's snowing outside and there's a queue. So, you know, I was just talking about humans being social creatures that affect each other. Well, a friend of mine was in the shop and mentioned eating lots of chocolate and crisps. And look what I went and bought. Chocolate and crisps! Yummy! I'd deliberately given myself some work that needed doing at the studio, which was fettling. That's where the word fettling comes from. It's tidying up the edges on things. So these plaques I make an original model. Oh, look, her face needs sculpting. So I make an original one, and then I make a mould, a plaster mould of them. And then you squidge the clay in, and then you take them out, and there's usually a few rough bits that need repairing. So I've just taken these ones out. But then they need all these loose bits taken off. But I'm just not feeling it today. My strategy to make me keep coming up here hasn't worked. So I'm going to do those another day. And open up the kiln because that always cheers me up. Oh, it's still quite hot. They've come out pretty nice, looking at them so far. I feel a bit selfish being depressy and moaning and complaining when there's people a lot worse off than we are just now. But I know what triggers my mental health to deteriorate, and that is spending too much time on the computer, which I have been doing, fighting bureaucracy, which I have been doing, not having a routine, not being able to earn my own living, not being productive, not being busy. All of these things are the things that send me into depression mode. So I'm going to address that today by going home and just doing some positive stuff, because it's a bit cold up here and it just don't really feel like making stuff if there's no one to sell it to. But I'm pleased with these, they've come out quite nice. So maybe when they're cooled down I'll get them photographed and put online in the hope that anyone's still spending out there, because understandably nobody's sure what's happening at the moment, so sales are just, online sales that I'd hoped have just not really been happening, but I can understand why. Oh, that's hot. So, hurrah! I've been trying to do these coasters since January. The first attempt came out awfully because that glaze is really temperamental. I've complained about that one before, and they warped. So this time I made some much thicker tiles. There's still been some warping going on, and I fired it 20 degrees lower. So yay, at last. So when I get orders and I say they're around 3 weeks, I should really say 3 months, because technical issues. This is my giving up and going to bed face. I managed to do the dishes, hooray! And then I've been trying to steam clean the place, and I couldn't get that to work, and so I'm just sitting in bed for a bit because today's rubbish. I have a collection of great books to read, and all of those books, and look, there's even sunshine, but my brain's just not in it. And here's Lobo, he's keeping me company, and what you can't see under the duvet is Pancho. He's like a little hot water bottle. Bees. I wonder if I'll be able to get some bees this year with everything that's going on.